Okay, I got my coffee. Let's chat. Okay, so I locked the door. Hopefully no children or cats or husbands come in and interrupt us. But welcome back to Regular Secular Mama. If you're new here, hello, my name is Cassie, and I am wrapping up my 7th year as a homeschool mom to 2 kids, currently ages 13 and 11 years old. Today's video is a collaboration video with my friend Valerie over at Our Homeschool Castle. She has put together a playlist of moms who are sitting down and chatting about being secular homeschoolers. It's very informal. We're just going to be answering some questions and kind of chatting about our experiences. So this is completely unscripted. I haven't come up with answers ahead of time. I have them written down here and I'm just going to kind of read them and show them to you and then chat with you guys. So grab your tea, grab your coffee, whatever it is that fuels you, and we'll get to chatting. Okay, so the first question she's asked us to answer in this chat is sharing something new in our life, homeschool or otherwise. Let's see. You guys already know, hopefully, if you've been following my channel, that we have a lot of new things that have happened over the past year or two. We moved from Texas to Florida, and we moved from a relatively decent sized house on a relatively decent sized piece of land to an RV. So that was a huge change all at once. And then I started working at our local library, which is amazing and I love it, but it was a huge shift because it's the first time I've really been working outside the house while homeschooling. So that was a big change. And then we decided we were ready to get back into a house, and we just moved into this house that we're in about 11 months ago. So that's all new. That's a lot of new things kind of happening all at once. Since that kind of life update I shared with you guys not too long ago, we haven't had a whole lot more that's new. As far as homeschool goes though, we will have some new things next year. I shared in my curriculum picks video that I have a child who's 13 and will be doing some classes that are more independent than they already were. And I believe I shared that I was looking for a Japanese curriculum, and I decided to go with Well-Trained Mind Academy's Japanese 1, which I think is technically a high school level course or could get her high school credit. So that's going to be kind of a new experience for us. We've never had a paid online class with another teacher that she's had to keep track of outside of what we do at home. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think, for her to kind of manage that. She's gotten really good this year at managing her time and doing her schoolwork without me. I don't really have to micromanage or plan out her day for her. She kind of does that on her own. Actually, she plans her whole week on her own, so that's really nice. And she's continuing with Thinkwell, which is online but isn't with a live teacher, so that's, not a new thing for her, but it's also very independent. She has to keep track of that on her own. But then we also decided to try a curriculum from Meadow, and it's something that I've been really interested in. I've always kind of had my eye on Meadow courses, but they never really fit with what we were trying to do in our homeschool. But next year she's going to try their environmental science, which again is a high school course. So because Meadow is new for us, and because she's already going to be managing a couple of kind of heavier course loads, it seems like, and we are still doing our world geography together as a group, I'm probably not going to be as, what should I say? I'm not going to have her take environmental science as seriously as I might have if we were assigning it as a high school course. I will have her go through the lessons, and there's a lot of options built into the curriculum for what sorts of activities you want to do for each lesson. So that's really cool, and I think she's going to like getting to choose how she learns and what her output looks like for those lessons. But I'm not going to be as strict, I guess I should say, on what I'm getting from her for that course. I'm hoping it'll be a little bit more interest-led as she goes through the lessons and just picks and choose which resources and activities look interesting to her without necessarily having to turn things in very strictly. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit late in the day here and I've already had a long day, but yeah, so that's all kind of new. If she does enough of the work in environmental science, I'm happy to assign a high school credit for that. So it's possible she will have earned 3 high school credits at the end of next year, even though she's in 8th grade. So that's new. I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm very interested to see how the Japanese class goes with a live teacher on an online like classroom portal, because that's really new. If it goes really well, there's a chance we might do more classes in that kind of format. As we get into high school and I'm still working, it's gonna be really hard to manage all that stuff for her. So that might be a really good option. Anyway, that was kind of a long answer and it got a little bit rambly there for a minute, but like I said, this is a very chatty video. Okay, next question. She says, what's a favorite company or curriculum that jives with your family really well? Let's see. Well, obviously we enjoy Build Your Library. We've been using it now since we started, oh gosh. Okay, so it took us a whole 3 years to get through levels 5 and 6. I started out level 5, I heard a big bang. So I'm gonna go check on that really quick. Just give me a minute. Okay, it's fine. Everything's fine. Just, you know, parenting. What was I saying? Oh, that's right. Build Your Library level 5. We took a really long time to finish those levels, but we did really enjoy it. We got a lot out of it and loved all the book recommendations and the readers and things that were assigned. And I really liked the whole Charlotte Mason inspired thing. So we're continuing with Build Your Library next year. We are doing World Geography, which is level 7. And there's a good chance that the following year we may do level 8, just my son and I together, because my daughter will be fully into high school doing pretty much everything independently. So it'll mostly just be me and him doing stuff. So that's getting ahead of myself. But it's an option and something that I'm considering for that year. So we really like Build Your Library. Like I said, I love the Charlotte Mason inspiredness of it, how lessons are generally kept on the shorter end, like the reading aloud selections. We've gotten back into doing copy work more regularly, and the dictation has been really helpful, I think, for my son especially, whose spelling skills are still not quite up there. I know, I'm filming a video.
Well, can I talk to you for a minute?
Sure.
You following what I'm saying, son?
Yeah.
We're gonna put it on that table and see if it works on that table.
So you're gonna clean up the house?
No, I'm gonna move my car and we're gonna see if it works on that table first, okay? Yeah, I'll set it up in the driveway and see if it can work.
Okay. I don't know how I'm supposed to film this without anybody interrupting. Anyway. What? Yes.
When are we gonna get close?
Okay. Anyway, favorite things about homeschool. Favorite things about homeschool. Well, I'm fortunate enough to live in a state that does not super duper micromanage what we do for homeschool, which I really appreciate. I can't imagine being in a state where they tell you you have to teach these certain subjects and it has to be a certain amount of time every day and a certain number of days every year, and that just sounds incredibly challenging to try to fit within a mold that is being laid out for you. I'm sure once you get in your groove you can, you know, figure it out, but I like that we have the freedom here in Florida to not, you know, be micromanaged like that. We just have to have an evaluation done every year, which is pretty easy peasy. I just show what we used and, you know, some examples of their work, and it's really not very complicated at all. So I appreciate that. I like that sort of freedom. This one's gonna be a little bit dorky. I really like the planning process, and specifically I like formatting our lessons and things on the computer in a way that works for us. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but for example, when I was setting up our history lessons in Notion for level 6, once we like moved into the later part of American history, I basically took everything from Build Your Library history lessons, like all the readings, the map work, the research and things like that, and put them into a Notion page for that week of lessons. And I don't know, there's something kind of interesting and fun and oddly relaxing about setting up those pages and making them look a certain way and organizing it and getting it to where it looks nice. I don't know. Is that weird that I like to format things? I've even started looking at maybe using something online for next year. If you're familiar with Homeschool Planet, I have sort of started playing with it. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not, but I'm considering posting a video. I actually screen recorded myself starting it and doing the free trial to set it up and just to see how that would go. If you're interested in something like that, leave me a comment down below and I will edit that screen recording so it's a video that you can watch. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not because I'm not sure how much interest there is out there for something like that. But let me know if that would be something that interests you. I liked, plugging in the lessons and things, and there were some things I liked about using Homeschool Planet. I'm just not sure if that's going to work very well for me and how I do things. But it's something I enjoyed kind of playing with, even if I don't wind up actually using. So I like that part of homeschool. I actually like all the planning and like organizing the things we're gonna do. Okay, the next one's kind of fun. An example of a good day and then an example of a bad day. Well, you guys get to see all the Instagram versions of people's homeschool and all the beautiful pictures with the coordinated colors and the lighting just right and everything. But I will tell you that probably 3 out of 5 days, it's kind of a challenge. Okay, we definitely have our share of bad days, and let's see, I don't want to overshare here. Well, let's start with a good day. So an example of a good day would be our routine moves really smoothly and everybody is well rested and well fed and and motivated and paying attention and participating in discussions and things. And don't get me wrong, we do have days like that. We actually did have a few really good days lately. In fact, it was when my daughter was in a theater program, which was all day, 5 days a week for a couple of weeks. It was like a summer intensive thing. And my son and I were kind of on our own for history lessons. And I'm not saying that she had anything to do with the bad days, but it made for a really interesting and nice time to just do lessons one-on-one with my son. I feel like he was more inclined to snuggle up next to me while reading rather than going off to, play with Legos or whatever he does while I read aloud, which was really nice for me. And he also, I think, was more engaged in discussing what we were reading. I don't know if your kids do this, but sometimes when we're reading, say, a history lesson and we're reading aloud from a book, and I stop and I'm like, hey, this part's actually kind of interesting. What do you guys think about what they're saying? Just tell me what you got out of that. A lot of times they'll both clam up and wait so that the other person will answer first, I guess. Or I don't think it's that they're waiting to see what the other person will say so they can say the same thing. I think it's more like wanting to not be the only person answering the question. So they wait and let the other person answer first, I guess. I'm not in their minds. I'm not sure exactly what's going through their heads when they're not answering questions or not engaging in discussions, but that tends to happen a lot. And I'm not sure exactly how to get that to not happen, but it actually went really well when it was just me and him because there wasn't that weird tension between them of like, oh, who's going to answer her? I don't want to answer. Do you want to answer? So he just kind of talked to me about our history lessons and it was nice. And then with me working, a typical good day would be getting through our history lessons and having some good conversations, and then helping them with some of their individual subjects like spelling with my son, or helping my daughter, you know, with a writing assignment or something. And then I get ready for work. About lunchtime is when oh gosh, not this again. And then about lunchtime is when I normally get ready and leave for work. And then they're on their own at home to finish up their independent stuff. So that is a typical good day. My husband's really only responsibility when it comes to homeschool is he gets home from work before I do, and so he's supposed to kind of look over what they did, and they're just supposed to show him like, here, see, I did my math today and I did my writing today, and he just kind of checks it off. So that's a good day when all goes well and everything is swimmingly and we're discussing and everybody gets their stuff done and no one's distracted and whatever. A bad day, which definitely happens often enough, would be maybe people aren't getting a good night's sleep, or we didn't have a good breakfast, or we got a really slow start to our day. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes we just kind of have a slow morning and we shorten some of our history and group work to make up for it, and that's fine. But sometimes it tends to result in group lessons that I feel like I'm having to like pull things out of them. Again, they have this like weird tension between them when they're together and we're doing a history lesson and I'm asking for some input. But even aside from that, just getting them to the room so we can do those things together, sometimes that's even a struggle. In fact, I don't know whether to call it an addiction exactly, but my son, my 11-year-old, is hooked on Harry Potter audiobooks. And he has an Alexa Echo Dot thing in his room, and he plays his audiobooks in there. And usually it's, you know, during quiet time in the evening or whatever, but some days he gets it in his head that he wants to listen to it as soon as he wakes up in the morning. So then getting him to stop to come in and eat breakfast is sometimes a struggle. And then maybe after eating breakfast, they're supposed to do some chores like brushing their teeth, making their bed, that kind of thing, and he will just go straight back to his room to listen to the audiobook. And then I have to go and get him and drag him back and say, okay, no, this is what we're actually doing right now, come join us for history. And so that can be a real struggle. And he has some neurodiversity going on. I'm not going to get into details for his privacy's sake, but he is a little bit harder to redirect than like a neurotypical kid. So that's kind of a struggle and makes for a challenging start to our day, which tends to set the mood for the day. And those days where we kind of had a rough start to the day and I go to work tend to be the days that he will be in his room listening to an audiobook for like the whole afternoon and not getting his schoolwork done. So that's a struggle. I try to, you know, extend a little bit of grace and understanding, work with him on it, and try to teach him, you know, to balance his time and set timers for breaks and all kinds of things. But really just not being here in the afternoon to help him kind of stay focused is really hard. And when he has those off days, it just makes it really hard. And then my husband gets home, sees that he didn't do his stuff, asks him why he didn't do it. Sometimes that's an argument. And so we have a lot of days like that. The even worse days that you really aren't going to see on social media or even here on this channel are days where there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of yelling, not me yelling, but he will sometimes react in frustration and irritation and lash out a little bit, and that does happen. I'm not gonna lie, there have been times where he's like screaming or slamming a door or even throwing things on occasion. It's not pretty, and it does happen enough that it's something we are actively working on. So if you are also dealing with some really challenging behaviors at home, please, please know that you are not alone. You are not the only one whose child is acting this way or reacting this way. If you haven't sought any sort of professional diagnosis or opinion, it might be a good idea just to get an evaluation done. It's been really helpful for me to know what we're dealing with, so when I'm doing my own research and trying to figure out what's going to be helpful for us, I have a better idea of what I'm dealing with rather than just guessing or managing symptoms, if that makes sense. The point is, you're not alone. Everybody has challenges, some more than others, some more vocal or aggressive than others, but you are definitely not alone. Now, that said, it is not just my son who sometimes has a challenging day. My daughter is 13 and she is very much a teenager, and all of the hormones and everything that go with that definitely result in some days that are more challenging than others. We have recently been dealing with cell phone issues. We got a cell phone for her basically because it was offered to us for free from the cell phone carrier. We got a free phone and a free line, so we said, okay, I mean, sure, we'll take it. And we thought it would be good for things like soccer practice or theater where we're having to leave her somewhere. Unfortunately, I'll just come right out with it. I don't like Android. I really don't. We are an Apple family, and this phone that was offered to us was for free, and it was an Android phone. So at first we were using the parental controls on it. I think it's called Family Link is like the app that you use. And I really liked the parental controls actually, but they stopped doing that at 13. Google is under the impression that a 13-year-old is fully capable of managing their own stuff on their phone without any oversight at all. And while that may be true for some children, it is definitely not true for all children. And even a fairly mature 13-year-old like we have struggles with willpower and distraction and understanding which apps and things are going to pose a problem and which ones are okay. So that has been difficult and something we've been dealing with her. She hasn't really fought us about it, but she is mismanaging her time with the phone and accessing things that I would rather she did not access. Luckily, she's been able to understand when we talk about it and explain, like, you know, this was a result of the choices you made with your phone, and do you see how these consequences, like the things that resulted from your choices, were not good things. And she is able to see that and agree that something needs to be done about it. So anyway, that was a very chatty, long answer to whether or not we have bad days and what a bad day might look like. There are definitely plenty of them, and you should not feel bad or alone or anything when you have those bad days. Fortunately, we have the ability to say, this has not been a good day. Let's, you know, pause and maybe focus on something lightly academic, like reading a book that you enjoy or drawing some pictures or something, and we will regroup and have a better day tomorrow. That freedom as a homeschooler is invaluable. Okay, next, Valerie's asked us, how do we as homeschool moms recharge or manage our self-care? I'm gonna come right out with it. I'm not good at this part. I'm really not. I tend to use what free time I have on things that I feel like are productive, and in reality they're not actually super necessary. I'm not very good at this, but what I try to do is limit my phone time, for sure. It will often make me feel more tired or unmotivated to do anything. I find when I spend a lot of time on my phone, even if I'm not on social media and I'm just kind of like browsing the internet and things that come to mind, I'm like, oh yeah, let me look that up really quick, and feel very tired and unmotivated when I put my phone down, even though I didn't really do a whole lot. So I really try to limit my phone time. I don't sleep with it in my room, and I haven't in years. I keep it plugged in a separate space in the main living area. That helps a lot, but I have to remind myself not to keep it on me, especially in the evening, like after the kids go to bed. I just go plug it in and leave it there. So that's one thing I do, is try to limit my phone time. I also really enjoy reading, and I do read a lot, and I try to make time for that. Again, when the kids go to bed in the evening, that's usually when I find I have more energy for reading. Those are my main, I guess, forms of self-care, are limiting phone time and making sure I have time to read. I don't do as well when it comes to socializing with friends or other moms. We've been here in Florida now for 2 years, but I still don't feel like it's my home as much yet. I know that comes with time. And I have made some friends, but we mostly see each other in like homeschool functions, like at park day or at birthday parties or a field trip or something. I haven't really reached the point where I'm spending time with other friends that I've met here without children being involved. Now, I am kind of a super duper introvert and I tend to kind of recluse and do the Hobbit thing for a while. So I kind of have to make it a point to go out and visit with other friends and moms and things. I got into a really good routine of doing that in Texas, and I really enjoyed that time with my friends, just not all the time because I need time to myself. But I haven't found a good balance of doing that here in Florida yet. What's really nice is when you have like a neighbor friend and you get along really well and your kids get along really well, and you can just, you know, walk outside and spend time with them for a little bit in the evening, and that kind of thing is really nice. So I am trying to work on that and see if I can make that something that happens more often, because I do enjoy it. I enjoy seeing friends and having a few very close friends that I can spend time with and feel, you know, connected. I'm not motivated to do it because I'm so introverted, if that makes sense. Lastly, share a free resource that we love. Let's see. There are so many free resources out there, guys. If you're homeschooling on a budget, you can absolutely make that happen with a little bit of creativity, and networking on Facebook helps a lot. If you get into groups of people that homeschool in a way that you agree with and you like, you can share resources that way. I highly, highly recommend Facebook for that purpose. But as far as actual resources that we like, oh, well, I love Google Classroom. And I was watching some videos recently and saw Nikki over at Homeschoolology, hi Nikki, talking about Google Classroom and how much she enjoys using it too. I really like it because it's not as easy to use on like a phone or a mobile device as it is on a computer. And I feel like it's a lot harder on a computer to get distracted by other things like you do on a phone, getting distracted by apps and notifications and things. So as far as a technological way to assign things to your kids and like look over work that's turned in, I think Google Classroom is really cool, and it's completely free if you have a Google account. It's really easy to set up kids with their own Google account, and you can I use Google Suite for most of my documents, like their spreadsheets and documents, you know, just a regular document word processor. Google has a whole suite of things like that that you can use for free, and they work pretty well, and it's really easy to share those things with other people and collaborate even on some projects and things. So highly recommend Google in general and Google Classroom if you're trying to maybe assign things to kids in a way that they can complete them independently. Let's see, another resource that I have recently gotten into looking at, I heard of it a couple of years back, but I didn't really look at it because it looked like it was kind of above my kids' age level. But as my kids are getting into middle school and high school stuff, I am really interested in Big History Project, which is a course and collection of materials put out by a website called OER Project. It's either .com or .org, I can't remember, but I'll put it in the description below. But essentially, Big History Project is a course that covers history all the way from the Big Bang to, you know, humanity today. I guess you'd consider it more of a history course, although they have not really a lesson plan, but they have a setup that incorporates a little bit more science topics, so you could probably count it as history and science. The people who put the work into putting this website out there are heroes. It's so great. It's geared toward classrooms, I think, because some of the activities talk about, you know, doing group work or assigning this to like some kids and having some kids do other things. So, but from looking at it, it looks like it's pretty easy to adapt it to homeschool stuff. And of course, you don't have to do everything that they're putting into the course in order to, you know, get something out of it. So I highly recommend looking at that. They also have World History Project, and they have it at a couple different levels. They have like different spans of time to study world history. So that might be a really interesting way to get a high school world history credit, but also kind of cater to kids' interests. So if they're just really not interested in medieval stuff, maybe focus on the one that's a little bit more modern. Again, it's all completely free. It's broken down into units and lessons. It's really well done. All the lessons incorporate various types of media. So you might have articles that they can read and then, you know, discuss or maybe write a response to. And then there are videos, and there are also like writing assignments and things. It's just everything you really need for a good quality upper level history course. I hope that you enjoy looking at it as much as I did. I went deep in that rabbit hole and I was like planning out, okay, if we did this, how exactly could I make it work, and like trying to see how that would be structured in our home. So again, I spent probably too much time playing with it, but it looks really good and it's free. So I think I'm gonna stop it right there. I could probably go on with other resources that I found useful and I thought you might enjoy, but I don't want this video to be like an hour long and I feel like it might be getting up there already. Okay, I don't know what's up with my light, but we're just gonna keep on rolling. Thank you so much for watching. Up here you'll find the playlist for Valerie's collaboration, where other moms are sharing about their homeschools and chatting with you guys. Thank you, Valerie, for putting together this collaboration. It's been a really long time since we've done anything like this, so this has been really fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!